Hello, everyone. My name is Danny, and I'm here with Professor Guilherme Mendes. We just got done with the 2022 Worlds, and Guy and his team had an absolutely huge weekend. Guy and his brother Hafa got inducted into the Hall of Fame, and a lot of your students had some amazing performances. So, Guy, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, so do you want to start out talking about the Hall of Fame induction? It was a great ceremony that took place right before the World's Finals. You and your brother Hafa got inducted into the Hall of Fame, which is a very exclusive club to be a part of. So I'd love to get your thoughts on what you thought of the ceremony and just what it means to you to be in the IBJJF Hall of Fame.
And it means a lot because I started training Jiu-Jitsu when I was 11 years old, and I dedicated my whole life to the sport. And I think any kind of recognition that I can get, it just keeps like motivating me, and it's very special. For sure, was really nice like to be with like other people that were also part of my generation, like being with Bernardo and Bia, Lepre, Andre, and my brother. I think we were all basically from the same generation, and I was really happy. It's was an awesome moment for us, something that I really wanted to be a part of. Like when I stopped competing, when IBJJF first announced, they said that one of the requirements, I don't know if it's still like that, but the first requirements that they said was like to be a 4 times world champion. And I remember before when I was competing, that was one of my goals. I was like, I want to make sure I can make it to the Hall of Fame. Like, so I need to win like at least 4 black belt world titles. And it was amazing. It was a great moment. I'll never forget.
Yeah, it was a great ceremony, and I think it was cool how it not only highlighted your accomplishments as a competitor, but also everything you've done for the jiu-jitsu community through your academy, the Art of Jiu-Jitsu, and your online platform. You guys have had a huge impact on the entire community, not just through your matches as competitors, but through other things, through your teaching and through your presence online. So it was great to show recognition for that as well.
Yeah, I feel like that's what's most important for me. Like I'm pretty open about that. Like I liked my campaign as a competitor. I think that built up a lot of like that confidence in my abilities, and like it built my character a lot. But like I'm very proud of like the work that I started doing after competing, because this is it's like what I'm very passionate about. You know, like I like it competing, but it was basically like a way of building the credentials to do what I do today. So that's what I really love doing when I think about jiu-jitsu, and I think about what I love about it. It's more related to building a community and being able to share experience and meet different people. That's the part of the jiu-jitsu lifestyle that I'm very passionate about. I use like a competition just as a way to build credentials. Like I like that. I like to be there, but it's not like my real passion.
Speaking of the work you did after you stopped competing, you have a lot of competitors that you've invested a lot of time into since they were kids. You've brought them up to the black belt level. And one of your best competitors or most accomplished competitors is Tainan Dalpra, who had an absolutely incredible performance at the 2022 Worlds. He won his first world title in 2021, and then he came back about 6 months later and won his second in the Pyramid in Long Beach. I'd love to hear your thoughts on Tainan's performance. He had 4 matches. I believe he had 2 submissions, including one in the final over an incredibly tough opponent. So what were your thoughts on Tainan and his campaign at the 2022 Worlds?
Yeah, I mean, like I always talk about him in like every interview, and how close we are. Like he started training with me when he was a little kid, and he was by himself here. So both of his parents were living in Brazil when he was 14 already, and he stayed with me. So that created a huge impact, like in our relationship. Like he's like a younger brother or a son to me, and that for sure makes it like even more special. Like I want to highlight the fact that like, man, like I it's even surprising for me how much he keeps getting better competition after competition. Like last year, I thought was incredible. Like a kid that's 20 years old go there and win a black belt in the first year, and it was always hard to do that, but like it gets harder every year with the level that we see in competition. And he was able to do it in the middleweight division, which is a division that it's very hard, it's very complicated. You get like a new talent every year, and I thought it was an amazing campaign last year. But after that, he just keeps getting better. And like when he competed Europeans, he was able to have an excellent performance. Then competed at Pants, another great performance. But our Worlds was just mind blowing. Like I try to compare a lot his performance in each competition, because he's always competing against the same people. It's always the top like 4 guys in the division going against each other, and he's able to dominate more and more every time he touches the person. He comes with like a feedback, and we work on like implementing new things, and the next time he fights a person, it's something totally different and like more dominant. Yeah, I was very proud. Like the best match in my opinion was against Ronaldo. Ronaldo is a very tough competitor. Like they trained before when Tainan was, I believe Tainan was a juvenile, and Ronaldo was already a purple belt, and they were part like of like the same training, and it was a tough training already. Tainan already had like a good level when he was in the juvenile. But like I see Tainan growing every time like he competes against these opponents, and this time he was able to completely dominate Ronaldo, which was mind blowing for me when I was coaching him. Like we were expecting him to win because that's what we train for, and you need to go with the mindset that you expect the victory. But like the way he dominated and like passing the guard so fast and like taking the back, and I know it was just for me as a professor, like I get really motivated to keep studying even more and like and try to see like what level he can get.
Let's move on to another competitor who represented AOJ at the Worlds, Thalison Soares. It was a really interesting storyline when he announced that he'd be doing his camp for the Worlds at AOJ, and he talked a lot about his admiration for you and your brother Rafa as competitors. Can you talk about what Thalison brought to the Worlds camp and also how you felt about his performance?
So I know him since he was really young too, but he was never my student. So like we trained multiple times before, like when he was like I think juvenile or blue, then purple and brown. He visited AOJ a couple of times, so I know him for a while. And last year, I think was like in November or December, he contacted me asking if he could join the training camp for Worlds at AOJ. At first, like I was kind of like telling him like I don't know if it's a good idea because that's not like the style of work that we do like just for a camp or like normally like I try to work with the athlete like for a long time to build something together, and we kept going back and forward and talking and trying to come up with a good idea that would make this work. And then we met again at the Europeans, which he won the division. And then I told him that I would give it a try and I would let him like come and train for Worlds. Told him what my expectations were, and like he told me like what his idea of like after the competition would be, and like how would keep that relationship and keep working together. Like we created a plan, and then but for Pants he was not training with us yet. He teaches in Australia. He has an academy there, and then he lost in the finals at Pants. I was watching the match. I was not coaching him, but I was watching. I saw him like he lost, and then whenever we saw the list of competitors for Worlds, then I saw that we would have a chance to compete against the same opponent and like show like the difference in his jiu-jitsu and his strategies and like everything. And I was inside of me, that was like the match that I wanted for the finals, because how can you show the difference if he's fighting like different people, you know? So I think the best way for us to really show that improvement in a short period of time would be if he fights exactly the same opponent that he fought at Pants. And I really wanted that to happen. So I studied the match with him. I watched, and I told him what I wanted him to change in training, and what kind of approach would make it easier for him to have a successful campaign at Worlds. And man, like he was a great student. Like he did everything that I was telling him to do. Like he stayed like very committed to every single training session, always asking for feedback, always trying to study, like watching the fights, and the result could not be different. Like he was already good. Like I think like the way I see Thalison, my influence on Thalison is very different than Tainan. Tainan is someone that I had a lot of influence like in every aspect of like his career. And with Thalison, I had the chance to show a lot of like how I can make small adjustments, and that can create a good result, can change the result. So like we had 6 weeks to work, and we would have basically the same challenge that we had for Pants. And yeah, we were very successful with that. Like the fight was totally different than the fight at Pants. He applied everything that I told him to do. He grew a lot, like in training, like his mindset, his approach, and I'm sure like he'll carry this experience, and hopefully we are going to keep working together, and you guys are going to be able to see even more. Like he's someone that I really like it to work with, and I hope like we can keep that relationship and keep working together more and more.
Yeah, you mentioned that was a final that you wanted to see again, and you could definitely see your influence on Talisman in the second match. At Pans, it was more of a sweeping battle back and forth, and at Worlds, Talisman really showed some of the top game improvements that I'm sure you had a huge influence on.
Yeah, that was basically one of like the main things. There were like many different things that I pointed that I wanted him to fix, but I wanted him to trust more his top game, his passing, and like I knew that would be something that I could influence him a lot with, like the system that we work at AOJ and the style that we have. I think like that's like the biggest impact like in his game that we were able to create, like technique wise. But yeah, I was glad that like we were able to see that, because I could see in training like week by week the improvement. But when it gets to competition, it's a totally different scenario, and I didn't know if we would be able to see that live. And when that was happening, like in my mind, I was like, yeah, like that's exactly what I want. Like it's like it's showing like the result of the work. Like I didn't want to look like someone that is like just coaching the person and didn't have any influence, or is like trying to like just get my name attached to his victory at Worlds. Like, and that was one of the main things too that I was talking to him, and before he joined like the training camp. I was like, I already have my work and already have the athletes that I have been working with. Like, I don't want it to look like I'm just like trying to piggyback and like in your like successful like campaign, you know. And when everything was like unfolding, and I saw that we would have the opportunity to show my influence in his jiu-jitsu, then I was really happy. I'm very satisfied with the way like his whole campaign like it was at Worlds.
Yeah, Talisman looked incredible. So congrats on Tainan and Talison's performances at black belt. That was a great achievement for you guys.
Thank you.
Let's move on to some of your lower belt competitors. Cole Abate and Gustavo Ogawa competed in the purple belt featherweight division, and they both made it to the final with Cole taking gold, and they looked incredible. Cole had, I believe, all submissions. Gustavo looked incredible as well. I believe he had some submissions. Can you talk about their 2022 Worlds campaign and how you felt they improved from maybe, let's say, from Pans, because I know they both competed in featherweight purple belt at that tournament as well?
It's what I always tell them. You have to use all the lower belts as a way for you to prepare yourself for the black belt. Like our goal is always to be black belt world champions, ADCC champions. Like we're training for the highest level that you can compete in jiu-jitsu. The competing juvenile blue belt, purple belt, brown belt, it's like a step stone that it's leading you to the right direction. So there are tests that you need to go through in order to see how close you are to that high level. And of course, like winning the competitions, it shows you that you're in the right direction, that you have a higher chance of winning in the black belt division. And there's a lot that happened like in the background. Like Cole got injured last year. Like I didn't want to release anything because he had his name to compete at the ADCC, and announcing injury could like somehow be bad for him, and we were like just treating it, and was not the way we planned it. I don't want to make it like sound like an excuse every time like you sign up for a competition. I believe like you only sign up if you believe you have the chance to win, right? And if like he signed up for the competitions because we believed that he was ready, you know. But like a lot happened before, and then a lot happened after too. I think the result at Pants made them feel that they needed to make some changes and like work even harder. They already like full-time athletes with like outstanding commitment. Like, so I just think like sometimes like small losses or like setbacks along the way, they are needed in order for you to keep that fire inside of you and desire to improve even more. So it's normal. I think it's something that will happen with everybody at some point of their career, where like especially the way jiu-jitsu is, like it's impossible to win everything every time because there are so many high-level athletes. There's like so many competitions. To win a competition, you need to fight like 6 matches, you know. So like, and the amount of competitions that they do per year, for sure, that increase the chance of something bad happening or and they end up losing. But man, like they were amazing at Worlds. So it's incredible. Like we did a very like strong preparation. Like Cole was like 100% now. Like his preparation, like the last couple weeks before Worlds, like it was like amazing in training. Like he was back where he was before he got injured, and that was my goal. I wanted him to compete at Worlds with like being 100%, you know, and he was. I was pretty confident that he was going to win the division. And purple belt featherweight, it's always a tough division. That you get a lot of people. It's a huge bracket, and we got a lot of people, a lot of good competitors that live here, a lot of good competitors from Brazil that came to compete too. So it was a good task for them. And yeah, Cole submitted every opponent. He competed against people that he competed before, and he was not able to get submission. This time he was able to get submission. So same as Tainan, it showed like a lot of improvement in his jiu-jitsu comparing with like previous performance. And Gustavo was also amazing. Both of them are very dominant. Like there was no fight where like they were in risk or like they let it be a referee decision. Every fight like they had like a clear like win, and I was very, very happy for them because like I think they they're like a purple belt for only 6 months. They got their purple belt. Cole got right before Worlds last year, and Gustavo got after winning Worlds last year. So like they compete like only a couple competitions, I think like 2 or 3 competitions as a purple belt. They're just in the beginning.
Yeah, they did amazing, and they displayed a lot of beautiful jiu-jitsu. So congrats on both of their performances as well. I know you had a lot of other students competing in the lower belts. Was there anyone else that you wanted to highlight or talk about that had an exceptional performance in your eyes?
Yeah. The juvenile group is always amazing. It's always something that I like to highlight here because it's the beginning of the professional jiu-jitsu career. You know, they train and compete as a kid, but when they start going to the major competitions, like start competing in European, Spans, Worlds, it's like a new cycle that starts. And every year, like we have a very strong kids program. So every year we produce new juveniles that eventually become our lower belts and eventually will be our black belt world champions, like Tainan. And yeah, I had like a lot of juveniles that won, and they did really good. It's just like their first like season as a professional athlete, and I think it's a season of a lot of experience. You discover a lot about yourself. Like you put like it's a task, like a mental task too, because like you build up as a kid, you build up a lot of expectation to start doing like this kind of tournaments. And when it finally comes, like it's like a lot of pressure on you. But like they all did amazing. They had amazing performance, and like for sure, like you guys are gonna see them shining in the next competitions, like the next belts. They will become more and more. They will be even better competitors. Like in the future, you guys are gonna know them for sure. One that I really want to highlight, and I think like she really deserves like the spotlight, is Shelby Murphy. Like she also came from our kids program, and she won purple belt. Like I promoted her to purple belt last year, right before Worlds. She was like winning everything, and like I promoted her to purple belt. She won Worlds as a purple belt last year in the rooster weight division, and then she competed at Europeans. She won Europeans. Then she competed at Pans. She won Pans as a purple belt, and then compete a couple of the Opens too. And she just won another world title. And yeah, I feel like she's like going in the same direction as like Tainan and Jonathan and Jessa to like keep building her career as a lower belt and get with like a strong name and get to the black belt as a strong name. And was amazing. She displays a lot of her style of jiu-jitsu, has a very good top game and connects a lot of techniques. It's really fun to watch her because she's always fighting against flexible girls. It's always like every time you watch someone that is a good passer against someone that likes to be on bottom and it's flexible, I think you see a good battle because there are people that are doing what they want to do, and they're just trying to exchange his skills. And yeah, it was really good. She did amazing. Especially the fact that she started training jiu-jitsu at AOJ. So like she was brand new, like she was a little kid in the kids program, and seeing her succeed now as like an adult purple belt, it's amazing. It's like I told you, it's what makes me proud about my career. Like I love to be recognized as like a good competitor, but I have bigger plans. I want to be recognized as a coach and for influencing people and helping them to achieve their goals in the sport. And I think that's what I do best. Like I really like to do that. I'm very passionate about that, and I'm like learning a lot too and getting better too. It's like the process, like the coaching and being a leader. It's basically like you have to go through the same experience that you do when you're becoming a professional athlete. It's like you learn a lot every time you train somebody. You have like different experience with students. It makes you grow and like more confident. It's like I feel like I'm like getting to a new level where like I'm more confident, especially with like Tainan winning like black belt world titles. That was something new that happened to me last year. I knew I could train people and like help them to win the lower belts, but like bringing someone up from being a kid to all the way to being a multiple time black belt world champion is something that makes me feel very confident as an instructor, as a coach.
Your team had incredible results this weekend, and I thought it was really cool that you guys had a good presence as a team at the Worlds too. There were a lot of people cheering for Tainan and Thalison and all your students, so it was great to see the support for the AOJ crew. So I wanted to move on. I know you mentioned the level at the Worlds a couple times throughout the interview, and the level was crazy this year. There were so many newer black belts who put on excellent performances. Was there anyone who stood out to you in the black belt divisions that you really enjoyed watching, either from a technical perspective, or there was something about their performance that you admired?
And like I love to watch like the new generation. I think I'm a very open mind person, and I know that jiu-jitsu it's in good hands, and like the more kids programs we have around the world, we're gonna have more people starting at young age, and that means that we're gonna create like high level athletes at younger age. And I think that's what's special about this sport. It's evolving. It's getting to a new level where people are like 18 and 19 years old and they're already superstars because they start training when they were like 5 years old. And I think this is new for the sport. Like I started training when I was 11. And I thought I had like a pretty fast run and very successful. Like by the time I was 20, I was winning black belt world titles already. But this new generation is something completely different. Like they start training at 5. By the time they're 11, they're already very good at jiu-jitsu. And I was just starting at that age. And yeah, I think there are a lot of people for sure that I like to watch. But the whole new generation, they are something different, something special, because they start training jiu-jitsu younger, and that shows like the power of jiu-jitsu too. Like how you can create people that are very confident and like they are very committed to their goals, and at young age, like you see 18-year-old they have the behavior of like a professional athlete, and they act like they are like much older because jiu-jitsu is teaching them these life lessons, like it's keeping them on track, doing the right things to become a professional. And that's what I want for my kids too. Like my kids start training jiu-jitsu not too long ago. I have a huge kids program in the academy, and I'm already able to see jiu-jitsu impacting them so much. But like I want to see my kids living that, experiencing that too. My daughter is training. She is 6 years old. My son is 4. He was there at Worlds with me, like following me around. And yeah, I even post like a photo of like him with me while I was coaching it in Cole. And it's really important for me that the younger generation see like how mature and how committed and how respectful like the younger athletes are, like Cole and Tainan. I tell them a lot about like how much they have to set an example for the younger kids. They're already instructors inside of the academy, but I want them to impact not only the people in the academy but the whole jiu-jitsu community. I know that if like we create if this new generation, they are good examples, I think like the next generation will be even better.
Absolutely. The future is very bright for jiu-jitsu. And you mentioned a couple times your kids program and how important that is to AOJ. So to end the interview, I'd love to hear you talk about some advice you would have for someone who maybe they're starting jiu-jitsu at a very young age and they want to get to a position like Tainan or Cole, or just be a champion in the sport. What are some pieces of advice that you think are imperative for them to really internalize if they're going to achieve those type of results?
I think the most important is for you to be passionate about what you're doing. And whenever you are young, you have to try to think about your future, and you try to visualize things that will make you feel accomplished, that will make you feel happy. And that's what I did when I started training jiu-jitsu. My professor always try to teach that to us, to try to visualize yourself 10 years ahead and try to build an image that would make you feel proud of yourself, would make you feel happy about everything that you're doing. And then everything you do from now between now and then is it will be to build that future that you're imagining. And for the kids that are starting jiu-jitsu, or even younger adults, you have to be, in order to get good at something, you have to be passionate about it. Try to see the things that you love the most in life, and then just try to make your life work around it. I was lucky enough to have a huge passion for jiu-jitsu since a young age. And everything that I did was just to get better at jiu-jitsu and try to implement jiu-jitsu in my lifestyle. And with pushing yourself to new levels, you're going to learn how to be dedicated, how to work hard, and the price that has to be paid in order to achieve things that are hard to achieve. And this is all part of the process, but everything begins with being very passionate about something. And for me, it was jiu-jitsu. And our goal with the kids program is to help the kids to get passionate about the sport. So you implement jiu-jitsu in their lives when they're 3. We start at 3 at the academy, and it just keeps growing and growing. They need to love to be in the academy and be a part of that lifestyle. And the more it grows, that passion grows, I think the more committed they will get. And hopefully, in the next 5 years, 10 years, we're gonna have a lot of Tainans and Jessa, Jonathan. We have the potential to have a lot of people like them because of the work that we're doing. We're building a very strong foundation with the kids program, and I know we're gonna see the results in the near future.
That's awesome. That's amazing advice. And I once again want to congratulate you on the Hall of Fame induction, all your student success, and all the impacts you've had on the jiu-jitsu community in general. It's been really inspiring to see, and just want to congratulate you once again.
Thank you, man. My pleasure.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone, for listening, and we will see you guys soon with another interview. Take care.